following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations.
Good evening, and you're joining us on another episode on Business Best, and this is a platform where we showcase the best in the business, and we will be introducing to you people who have excelled in their particular field in order to showcase their latest developments in their respective industry. Now, as you can see, this program is a little bit different and it's going to be a little bit more extensive. That's because I want to focus on the tourism industry here in Sri Lanka. Now, I'm pretty sure that all of us are aware that the tourism industry is one of the main sectors that produces or generates foreign income to our country. And the fact that this industry has had its ups and downs in the past, especially due to the COVID pandemic, and also we went through an economic crisis as well. But I'm glad to say that the industry is picking up right now. And with that introduction, today we are going to talk about the Hotel Granbell, and for the first time they're celebrating the first year of operation here in Sri Lanka, and it has always been a Japanese investor. And on the show today we have Mr. Hiroshi Yasuno, who is the director of Belluna in Japan. Mr. Hiroshi, konnichiwa, and thank you so much for taking the time to join me on the program today.
よろしくお願いします。
And to start off our discussion, I want to ask you, so how is your stay here in Sri Lanka? I'm pretty sure you've visited quite some time back as well. How do you like Sri Lanka?
As always, I feel quite happy to be here, and I feel the breeze of the winds and a nice humidity and the nice scenery. Yeah, I'm quite happy.
Great. So now coming back to the business conversation, why do you think Sri Lanka was a country that you felt like investing into?
As kind of everybody knows, Sri Lanka is such a good country to travel. So that's the same way we felt at the time we decided to invest. So, firstly, this is the second property in terms of hotels, and the
Your first property would be Le Grand.
Yes, in Go.
Down south, yes. And this is the first time, I presume, that a Granbell hotel has been opened here in Sri Lanka outside of Japan.
Yes.
So how has this been? Explain a little bit about your operations, and are you happy about the outcome after a year?
Okay. So so at that time when we developed Le Grand Go, we have never had any experience to operate outside Japan. So at that time we decided to have a business partner to work with to operate the hotel. And after that, so it was 2018, and we felt that we had a good enough experience to operate by ourselves, yeah, and so decided to make this hotel to be the first Granbell hotel outside Japan.
Great. And another curiosity, a question that built up curiosity in me was, now you all opened up Granbell just last year, just when Sri Lanka was at the peak of having an economic crisis. And what made you think that, okay, this would be a perfect time to set up a hotel?
Okay, it is a little bit complicated question, and honestly speaking, in terms of the construction schedule, construction period, it was delayed by the COVID situation. It's hard to say, but a month it was delayed. But at the time, hotel was built, and so we needed to open the hotel because we do have we have finished the buildings. So it was not easy time to start a business, but
Y'all just went ahead and took up the challenge.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So, as a director, were your expectations met? I'm pretty sure y'all would have made your forecast for a period of time. So, since y'all have finished operation for 1 year, were your expectations met in terms of demand and profit?
We want to say that almost the same idea what we expected. A little bit slightly shortage there is, but still it's acceptable, I think. And from now on, the more tourists are coming to this country, and also at the same time, we are trying to be more popular among our competitors. So we believe that from now on also we are going better and better.
Great. So, give me some ideas about what your opinion is on our Sri Lankan tourism industry. Do you think now, compared to the operations you're doing in Maldives or Japan, how do you feel operating in Sri Lanka is like? Is it difficult for you? Is it challenging, or is it another country it's easy for you?
Compared to other destinations where we operate, Sri Lanka, relatively, it's a good, better location, I believe. Because, as you said, the last year or the previous years, this country might have struggled to attract tourists to come. But there are many good signs, right? So more tourists can easily come to this country, and also the currency kind of depreciation also helps. Relatively, it means that cheaper for the people from other country. What else? There are so many good signs, good indications we have. So
okay.
Yeah.
On a personal note, would you recommend anybody to come to Sri Lanka and spend the day? And what are your future plans in terms of investment? Are you planning on new projects ahead with Sri Lanka?
Okay. So right now we do have 2 hotels here. So what we are focusing on is to make these more, more guests to come. Yeah, we are focusing now. And also we do have the one huge land. It's not developed yet. So we are still considering to develop some kind of people gathering place easily. And and we will see. What's
Okay,
coming
we're
next.
looking forward to it as well. In terms of selecting an optimal location, now as you said, the Lake Grand is situated in Galle, and Granbell is situated in the middle of Colombo. But when you consider the landscape of Sri Lanka, mostly the tourist destinations are considered away from Colombo, like in Trincomalee, in Ella, Kandy, Jaffna, Galle, you name it. There's so many. But why did you think that opening up a hotel in Colombo would be a good idea?
Like international air flights, most of them land on Colombo, right? And so at least like the 1 night or 2 nights, there are possibility to stay in Colombo. Yeah, that's what we saw. And also, when we see the other hotels, how they are, we felt that there are a chance for us to make a new kind of hotel with the new attractions. So one of those are rooftop infinity pool with bar and with the actual fireworks. So yeah, and we saw that. So tourists who come to this country tend to go to a resort, right? So if we could even the hotel which has the resort atmosphere, it might be attractive for them. So.
Okay, so it's mainly like a transit hotel and for business people and stuff like that, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your operations and the staff and the interaction that you have with the Sri Lankan staff you have had here and the partnerships that you had to build, what is it like? Do you think it's easy to work with Sri Lankan people, in your personal opinion?
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Let me say it's normal. I mean, yeah. Sometimes it can be sometimes difficult, or sometimes it can be easy. But in general, I want to say it's normal, and the Sri Lankan people are very cooperative, and say friendly. So yeah.
All right. So in general, what do you think? Where do you think Sri Lanka's tourism industry stands at the moment? Do you think that we'll face an uptick in the future? Do you think that there'll be an increase in demand in the future to come compared to now?
Oh, tourist number?
Yes, especially to Granbell Hotel.
Oh, a Granbell Hotel. Oh, yes. Yes, that's what we aim and what we believe. So we are still trying to make our hotels more attractive and also still we are trying to offer better services and like events or whatever it is. So
okay, we need to work on the advertising, which is it. All right. So when you started Granbell 1 year ago and until now, what was the biggest challenge that you faced? The obstacle?
Okay, yeah. As you said, the beginning, at the very beginning when we opened the hotel, it was in terms of the seasonality, it was a low season. And also we just has opened and there was an economic crisis and obvious problem with the fuel to transport. So we had quite difficulties to get guests to come to the hotel. Yeah, especially the very beginning months, a few months.
That's right. But you do see an increase in the number of people attending Granbell at the moment, from the time you all started.
I'm sorry.
You do see an increase in the number of people who are attending Granbell at the moment than when you started, yeah?
I'm sorry to ask many times.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
What's the
Let's
question?
move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next
Okay,
question.
all right.
So when you started operations, I'm pretty sure that you have to work with Lankan directors as well, Sri Lankan directors,
right.
Sri Lankan staff. So what sort of support or acceptance did you receive from them in order for you to come and operate here?
Okay. Yeah. They are very very working hard people and cooperative. So and also they know how this country work. So there are Japanese staffs we have, and there are skilled Sri Lankan staff. So they shared their idea what they should have done, and they talked and they decided the way they took. So it was the way it helped.
Okay, so when you're operating Granbell in Japan, do you think the way of handling the tourism industry in that country is the same as handling the tourist industry here in Sri Lanka? Did you have to make any drastic changes of operation?
Okay. Oh yeah. It might be okay in Japan. So South Asian tourists tend to come to Japan more compared to other destinations. So we are using the OTAs, online travel agents, and also real agents to work with. And compared to that, here, the majority of tourists are supposed to come from European countries, I think. So, we have changed just slightly.
You all have to cater to the demands and the ways of life here in Sri Lanka in order to operate. I guess that's what you're trying to say.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Okay, Mr. Hiroshi, I'm pretty sure that like you have to take leave as well because you have to attend another meeting. But I want to thank you first of all for sharing your ideas and your insights about here, and thank you for partnering with a country like us in Sri Lanka when we actually need this the most, and building the tourism industry here. And I wish you all the very best with Granbell and our future projects. We definitely are looking forward to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's ours, and thank you very much.
So we have to continue with our program, but in the second and third segment we'll be joined with many other crew members here and the staff members here of Granbell as well to share the insights of the hotel and to give more details on this as well. But before that we have to go into a short commercial break. We'll be back soon. You're watching Business Best. Welcome back to Business Best, and this is our second segment. Now in the first segment we spoke to Mr. Hiroshi Yasuno, who is the director of Belluna in Japan and also one of the directors here in Granbell as well. And he did describe about the tourism industry here in Sri Lanka and the relations that he has with Sri Lanka as well, and the future plans that he has with regard to Granbell. Now, to continue our discussion, I want to introduce you to Roshan De Silva, who is the head of sales and marketing at Granbell, and also Safra Shehan, who is the rooms division manager. Thank you, Shehan and Roshan, for joining me on the second segment.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Right. To start off the discussion now, I think Mr. Hiroshi gave us an idea about what his plans are, what his intentions are. So, do you think now, first of all, congratulations on 1 year of operation here at Granbell.
Thank you.
And when working with your directors, do you think that you all are doing a great job in terms of working towards their expectations?
In terms of what has been offered and what's expected from the management, I think this past year with all the challenges, it has been very challenging. With most of, I think I would say the better part of the year being full of political unrest and things going on in the country which have heavily affected the hotel in terms of occupancy, outlet revenues, things like that. So in terms of the expectation of the management from that point of view, I think they are pretty happy because after say about November things kicked off. And we have achieved the expectations up to par with the other competitor hotels who are in the market for more than 5 years. So I think in that sense, yes, definitely.
And thoroughly, they do understand what is going on in Sri Lanka, and they always encourage to do our best. So as he mentioned, at the end of the year 2022, so we managed to recover all what we were losing. So with the support of the management and understanding and the support of all the staff.
So when you all first started, I believe that you guys are on the forefront of working with the operations here in Sri Lanka. Now you all started 1 year ago in the midst of, the economic crisis and the political crisis and whatnot. So how did you all manage to cope up with all these challenges?
So I think we have been there from the inception. So Shehan basically overlooks the entire operation. So from when it comes to front office to housekeeping, to engineering, to the entire operation, sales, marketing, whatnot, reservations, everything, he overlooks everything. So from that whole concept, from the inception, we were part of this team. So at the pre-opening stage, so Shehan, myself, F&B manager, housekeeper, HR manager was the part of the initial team. So in that team, we gelled quite well together for about 2 months before we got started. and getting things started off at the start, by having issues with imports, all of that getting sorted, those things sorted out, I think really helped us gel as a team. In addition to the Japanese staff who were quite new to the property, so who were new to the culture and new to the whole experience. So even adding them as a whole, it helped quite a lot. So that kind of put the stepping stone to get things started off, and it was a whole new experience because none of us have gone through something like that. I mean, in terms of experience, I've been working for about 10 years in the industry. Shehan has been working for over 20 years overseas with other brand chains. So I've been also working with local chains before. So I think most of the other head of departments as well. So I think with all of that taking into consideration, nobody has experienced something like this. The whole culture change, everything, country situation. So it's new for everybody, and everybody came through that really well.
And in addition to that, I would like to mention that the bond between the HODs, I mean, all executives, and it was like spotless. There is no any argument, and I want to tell you that we all are, as you can see, that we all are young team, very young team. So we have a lot of innovations, creativity. So we had a great plan always, and we knew how to recover what we were supposed to have. So those kind of things, especially bond between the executives as well as the line staff, was there is no issues. I think that was the main thing. Commitment, support each other. That make us more easy to recover those scarcities in the past.
That I also believe that relationships and bonds are very important in order to have a harmonious work environment as well. Now Roshan also mentioned that you all had to mingle and interact with Japanese staff as well. What was your experience with that? Was it difficult because they are also coming from a different culture and we have a different culture, and so was it difficult for you all?
So in the sense of the Japanese staff, from the general manager at the time to the front office manager, the chef as well. So they were the initial Japanese team. So it was at the start, I mean, even up to now, it has been functioning quite well. I mean, everything has been going very smoothly where everybody works in unison together. So what they brought in was basically the Japanese culture, taught us about that, what's required, the standards expected by the management. And from us, basically, what was requested was how to adapt to Sri Lanka and the Sri Lankan hospitality concept, and how to have both together and take the brand up from that point. So that was the main factor in that.
But I don't take this as a negative, because take from me, actually I've been working some of the hotel chains, big hotel chains in the Middle East basically. So those hotel chains, one of the hotel had like 147 nationalities. So I think we did not have any issues with the nationalities and all. They adapt to our nationality, our culture, and we adapt to their culture. So that was a great communication between Japanese culture, the Japanese staff, and our staff. So eventually we managed to get through with all the difficulties and scarcities and everything.
Okay, Shehan. Now, Roshan mentioned that you have worked with multiple international chains, hotel chains as well. So, since he mentioned that you all had to bring in the Sri Lankan concept of the tourism industry and help them figure out, what the concepts are. In your terms, compared to international chains, what do you think is the concept of the Sri Lankan tourism industry?
I think just to compare a little bit about my past experience to Sri Lankan. Actually, this is my first hotel to work in Sri Lanka as a management. I think Sri Lanka, when it comes to talent of the people, it's there already. Even when I was working in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Qatar, most of the Sri Lankans are performing really good. That concept, basically staffing, manning concept, it's pretty much good enough in Sri Lanka. So that we need to utilize very carefully. So that will support to promote our facilities, our culture especially. So like recent past, he has gone to ATM. So during that ATM, so he was able to expose about our facilities, about our culture. That will give us a great impact for our hotel and our Sri Lankan tourism as well.
Great. Now, when comparing Granbell to, that's all right, comparing Granbell to other hotels here in Sri Lanka or maybe international, where do you think Granbell stands out? So, why do you think people would want to come to Granbell?
So in terms of the property, I mean, I think the main factor which needs to be addressed is that it's a Japanese owned property with Japanese standards coming down, and everybody knows about standards and how Japanese people work. So everything is in order, and everything is very meticulous. So based on those requirements, the hotel has taken kind of that identity as a whole. So that's how the hotel is built and how we want to portray ourselves as well, where it's a Japanese owned hotel and also it's a resort in the city. So that's the entire concept, where you don't get a feel where you are in a city hotel, but more or less in a resort in the middle of Colombo rather.
And in addition to that, we are not going to compare to the other hotels. We are a unique hotel. Hotel itself like something that we can promote to the world. You can see right behind you the sea. It's like breathtaking. And some guests used to mention in writing in the reviews, this hotel is a heaven. I'm not just lying. You can go through with the reviews in the internet. You can see it. Some of them said, "This is my dreams come true to stay in Granbell." So it did not mean that we're comparing and we are putting the other hotels down, but our hotel is kind of unique. You have 27th floor. I think none of the hotel, as far as I know, none of the hotel has infinity pool in 27th floor. Right next to it, we have jacuzzi. That's best place to relax in the city, as far as Going down to next to it, we have bar, as you can witness, and next to like 2 floors down, here we are right now, 27th floor, which is typical Japanese authentic foods available, which is cooked by Japanese chef itself. And you can see behind us there are 2 teppanyaki counter, which we can expose the Japanese culture, Japanese food, and everything. So I mean, in terms of facilities, in terms of staff, and basically smile of our staff, and talent of our staff will support, and I'm not going to compare with that other hotel, but I can say that we are in good like stage of those things that we need to consider.
Talking about staff and people engaging in the tourist industry, was it difficult for you all to recruit people into working in Granbell because it was a startup last year?
Well, at the beginning, yes. But you can see nowadays, basic media is like YouTube. And if you go to the YouTube by searching Granbell, you will see a lot of TikTokers and YouTube channels, YouTube videos available. So now they are like crave to come to Granbell. Recent past I went to this Ceylon Hotel School. There was like open stage interview. Some of the hotels are behind us, but they were lining up to our hotel, which means our hotel has become like now hit in the city. So they wanted to come and join with us to experience our services, services and the culture, especially when it comes to Japanese, as he said. They like to have Japanese, they like to experience our Japanese culture as well.
In terms of internship programs, now I believe that according to my research, there are so many people who want to get into this industry.
Correct.
Because they, as you said, we have the talent. People here in Sri Lanka can do it. We have the smile, we have the ability, we have that charisma in treating people. So in terms of internship programs, does Granbell offer any programs like that for interns to join with you?
We do have training programs, and we are like monitoring often, it depends on the department basically. And let's say once a month, we are just reviewing how they are performing. Because eventually when they leave the property, we need to make sure that the person who's leaving this roof, he has to be 100% perfectly. We are putting great products to the field, hotel industry. So we have great team members, HODs, who's taking care of always those newcomers. And we have training program in return. So that will, I think that is kind of things that we are offering to them as a trainees.
Roshan, now in terms, you being the head of sales and marketing, was there a lot of effort that you had to put into in terms of advertising Granbell?
Yes, like I said before as well, in terms of the standards of Japan and how they operate, in terms of advertising, the whole concept of advertising in Sri Lanka and in Japan is entirely different. Where they don't, they look at different angles of how it's been done. It's a very systematic process. Where in Sri Lanka, if you are opening a hotel, you just go all out from the start itself, and then gradually you reduce it based on how it's needed as and when required. But in the Japanese concept, it's a very systematic process. So when it comes to advertising, the way we wanted to do it at the start, the initial plan that I had with the management was quite different. And gradually things moved on and we were able to go ahead with those relevant plans. But it's very systematic and it requires a lot of statistics to prove that, this actually would head somewhere, where we would require a certain campaign, for instance, which would generate a certain number of revenue. That's the angle which it's a very detailed angle where the Japanese management looks into. So those are certain challenges that we had at the start, but we we got into it as well, and we understood that whole concept and how we need to justify why this is required. And from that point onwards, justification, once that is done, we were able to go ahead with the relevant advertising. So initially, I think with the country situation, what was going on, there were many challenges on that angle as well, not only from the management perspective, but from the country perspective as well, where everybody was focused on what was going on in May 2022, whereas the hotel opening was completely overshadowed. Nobody even knew that a hotel had opened until a few months after. So that advertising campaigns used on social media, even promotions that we did directly with certain corporates to travel agents and to operators weren't very effective, because the destination as a whole, Sri Lanka, was kind of blacklisted. So we had a huge issue to start things all over again. So that was kind of an issue we had at the start and for the first few months.
Would you say that the concept or theory is used by Japan is different to Sri Lanka? Do you think that their system worked here in terms of advertising?
I would say how they look at it is quite different, in the sense where their advertising is it's quite direct. It's quite focused on one particular angle. Yeah, it's on websites, or it's on a very direct angle. Where in Sri Lanka you have to cover so many segments. They have a lot of international travel, they have a lot of domestic travel. It's pretty segmented and it's very focused. Where here, at the moment, we are like, the industry is running all over the place. So adapting to that whole situation, you have to cover so many angles. So if I just take an example from our website to online travel agents, which are like certain travel agents which most people use to book their reservations. Then when you talk about travel agents who have been working in Sri Lanka for so many years, there are many brands like that. So then the corporates, if you take the embassies, NGOs, airlines, so there are so many segments where their segments are not focused like that. It's just one segment. This is the rate. This is the advertising we use. It's pretty straightforward and very focused. So it covers all those angles, and it's just one product that they sell. Where we need to cover so many angles in different methods.
Yeah. And the mode of advertising also plays a big role. And
for sure.
For us Sri Lankan people, there always needs to be that spice into
advertising.
Definitely,
yeah. And I think we Sri Lankans are more, still they are quite into the traditional marketing concepts, where the Japanese concepts are pretty much focused only on digital, whereas we need a lot of presence.
That's right.
A lot of lifestyle, kind of influencer marketing to be addressed.
That interaction
needs to be done. Whatever ATL, BTL, TTL required, which all needs to be done. Whereas in Japan, it's pretty much focused on digital marketing only.
All right, so we need to continue this discussion, but we have to go into a short commercial break as well. We'll be back soon. You're watching Business Best. Welcome back to Business Best, and we were in discussion with Roshan and Shehan, and we were in discussion about the Granbell Hotel, and they were celebrating the first day of operation as well. Now I myself took a small detour around the hotel, and y'all helped me around as well, and I must say it was quite impressive, and the views that y'all have of the ocean, it's just amazing. And we are currently at the 27th floor on the rooftop, and it's windy, and I just love the ambience and the atmosphere here. So I'm pretty sure the viewers who are watching this also would want to know more about the hotel and the facilities that you'll offer. If you could please explain a bit about that.
Yes, of course. So the property as a whole, it's a 292 room property. There are several categories, 4 categories in total. So we have standard rooms which have bathtubs in them, which offer sea view and city view. Superior rooms which have city view and sea view again, but the bed composition is all twin beds. So it's ideal for business purposes and corporate gatherings, corporate stays rather. And in addition to that, one of the unique features of that particular room is that the bathtub offers a view of either the city or the sea. So whereas the standard room, it's only a bathtub where it doesn't offer a view, but the superior room onwards there is a view of either the city or the sea. So moving on to the next category, which is superior terrace. Superior terrace it's on either side of Marine Drive. The view is on either side of Marine Drive, and it has a bathtub itself and a terrace, a lovely terrace. And highest room category is deluxe. So deluxe is one of the highest room categories as well as one of the best selling room categories. In terms of rate, though it's sold at a higher rate, there are people who actually value that view because it's sea view, there's a terrace, there is a view. I mean, even if from the bed there is sea view. Most of the rooms have that, but this kind of has a unique feature with the terrace as well as the bathtub, which is also offering a sea view. So we have about 7 units in total. In that category also we have a few twin room options, but making it the highest category and the best selling category.
Something that I really loved about is when you just come out of the lift and when you come to the 27th floor and the doors just wide open and all you can see is the infinity pool and the beach. That's a really good view. So if you can tell a bit about the rooftop.
Actually, that's what I told you before. Most of the guests are commenting saying that this is in heaven and the dreams come true. I think this is one of the places where that word means. And in addition to that rooms, actually I want to take a little bit summarize what he mentioned. We offer all the rooms bathtub. I think it's like unique thing for our hotel also. And we have triple bedrooms also, and we have deluxe plus superior rooms. Together we can connect, we have connecting room, not like connect room, but adjacent room with one door, which can accommodate some families and all. So that also like when we are targeting like foreigners, like example Arabic guests, like Middle East guests, and also that also plus point for us as well. Okay,
I want to talk about the target market that you all are focusing on. Is there a specific target market, or is it the people around Colombo? Are you all targeting foreign people, tourists as well? So if you could give an advice on that.
Yes, so on that question, and just to add on the fact of the outlets as well, so we have a all-day dining restaurant which offers breakfast, lunch and dinner, then the Japanese restaurant and the pool bar, which also with the rooftop bar rather, which are the 3 dining options, and we have a cafe on the first floor which has a mix of variety of coffees as well as snacks to sweets. So having all these facilities as a whole, and in addition to that the banquet as well, which can accommodate up to 65 packs in total. It's a mix of leisure and corporate travelers. So the main focus right now with what was going on in the country last year and with what it is right now, it's a mix of both, but it was mainly focused on the local market. The main attraction was for the local market during the last year because they couldn't travel out of Colombo either. So it was mainly focused on the local market, and the borders were closed. So once it opened up, the focus has been pretty much on the leisure side, on the leisure traveler. But ideally, it being a city property, it's a 50-50 mix between leisure travelers and business travelers, corporate travelers. So where they stay for meetings or when they come to visit companies over here in Sri Lanka. So it's a mix of it, but at the moment the mix is more towards leisure and then the local market as well as corporate, the corporate foreign travelers. So when it comes to banquets, it's pretty much all local corporate events to company functions and gatherings, and a few weddings here and there that we have done as well. Because with the 65 pax capacity, you can't have Sri Lankan weddings, right? Sri Lankan weddings are minimum of at least about 200 pax. So, so due to that, we have small constraint on handling weddings, but there were a few engagements to homecomings to weddings. We have had a few. So like I mentioned before, it's a mix of those particular markets, but in terms of countries at the moment, we have a lot of travel from in the sense a lot of Japanese guests staying with us, because obviously it's a Japanese owned property. We have guests from a variety of countries, from India to Russia, Middle East, Australia, UK. So it's a mix of countries which were not present that much in the city, in city hotels.
Okay. Now
But
yeah.
parallelly, we are focusing on foreigners and as well as Sri Lankans as well. And just addition to that, he was talking about the gym and all. And as you witness that we have a beautiful place called Dancing Studio, and also we have spa, which is managed by Lotus Spa and Lounge, and it has like three rooms, which double packs. It was facing to sea view. It was also like significant place to enjoy, like relax and all. And on top of that, entrance of the spa, we have open area, open terrace, where most of the local, Sri Lankans are having like proposals and all. That was also a hit place for Granbell Hotel.
Oh, great. I'm pretty sure that a lot of us now who are watching this also are itching to come experience the things here in Granbell as well. I presume that this is a pretty new hotel, like even though it has been operating just for a year, like people need to come and see this place. Now when talking about your experience, you said that you have experience in the international chains, and also Roshan, you said that you've worked in local chains as well, and you all are handling operations in Le Grand in Galle as well. Talking about the demand for the hotels based outstation and the hotels based in Colombo, where do you see the most demand?
Currently it's in Colombo. Throughout the week it's in Colombo, because you have the foreign travelers during the week, and on weekends there are a mix of local travelers and foreign travelers. But in resorts at the moment it's pretty much all the foreign travelers mainly. And now coming into this period, it's kind of the lean period of the year where tourists don't travel much. So it's pretty much locals who travel. So locals travel only on Friday and Saturday and on holidays. So the rest of the period is pretty much vacant at most of the properties outside of Colombo. But Colombo is quite busy at the moment. But in terms of occupancy levels, there might be a slight drop, obviously, because the foreign markets, they are pretty much working during this time period and they don't travel. It's not a holiday period for them. So that is kind of an impact which we'll have until about October, these few months. So taking Le Grand, since you added on Le Grand as well, so Le Grand is also owned by the same owners, which is Balluna group of companies in Japan. It's a 57-room property. It's quite different to this, where that is more, it's kind of like a boutique property, a 5-star property. 57 rooms where it has a standard rooms, where the standard room itself is 45 square meters, goes up to around 150 square meters. So we have the starting category, which is deluxe, super deluxe, signature, premium rooms, plunge pool suites, jacuzzi suites. So it's a mix of all of that. And there's a specific seafood restaurant focused on that area as well. And we have a massive garden over there. So it's ideal for weddings, not local weddings. I mean, there are local weddings also, but locals don't use the garden space into that effect as much as foreigners do. So the property is offered on a buyout basis, where you can buy out the entire property for a wedding. So you need to occupy the rooms as well as have your wedding at the property. So those facilities are available at Le Grand. And one of the key and the most unique features is that it's just 5 minutes walking distance from the Galle Fort. So you can see the fort from the rooms. Majority of the rooms have sea view, and at least about 50% of them have a view of the fort as well.
Okay. We are reaching the end of our program as well. Now, before we end, more about Granbell. What do you think Granbell is more popular for? What is it known for?
Basically for everything. What would I say? Yes, when it comes to facilities, as we already almost described, and facilities comparing to the other hotels, as I said again, I'm not letting other hotels down, but comparing to the other hotels, where we are going to like compete with, I think our facilities are quite demand and high. We forgot to mention you, we have two jacuzzis. One is in 27 right next to the swimming pool, the other one in 10th floor where the gym and spa is available, and that one is warm one. As I mentioned to you that we are typical Japanese company which offers like high teas also. Now it's become famous in the city, and we are offering Japanese buffet. Those kind of specific things I think will support us to promote our hotel and get some business to our hotel as well as to the country.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
this is all the time we have on the program. So thank you so much, Roshan and Shehan, for
Thank you
sharing
for
your
having me.
ideas.
Thank you for
and
having
also
us. It has been a
inviting me.
pleasure.
Yes, and I wish you all the very best for the future projects and also working with Japanese partners as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that was our episode on Business Best. That we will be back again next week with another product or service that would interest you. And just in case you can watch us on air, you can always rewatch by catching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Derana English. I'm Suzanne Shinali. Stay safe and have a good night.